All right. So Kathy and Lewis kind of have this very similar questions here. So I am going to lump these two together. Um, Kathy asks, tartans normally being to families, right? How how did you come up with tartans such as the Appalachian folklore tartan? And then Lewis Collingwood is asking, when creating a new tartan design for your family, does one does the colors you choose make a difference on what mill you would get the kilt from?
Or who would have weave it, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
The I kind of the first question I kind of I won't want to sound harsh as I reject the premise of the question, but to some degree I reject the premise of the question. The tartans
harsh,
are
bro.
it is harsh. I apologize. Tartans, are known today, generally speaking, or 20 years ago, are known for the most part as clan tartans. There wasn't a whole lot of other tartans that were out there. Not a whole lot. There were some, not a ton. Or I guess 30 years ago now. I'm too old. I'm thinking 1995. But it's not just clan tartans. There are plenty of universal tartans, and like the ones we were just talking about with the Culloden coat tartan, with the Moy Hall plaid, with Glen Affric. There's been universal tartans forever. Tartans originally started out as pretty things, pretty ways to weave cloth, make it look good so that it will sell. And that's where it began. That is the origin. That's the genesis of tartan. I'm going to copyright that phrase. Genesis of tartan.
Oh yeah, copyright
I
it.
should do that real quick. The I'm not going to copyright it. Don't worry, House of Egger.
Simon,
I love you guys.
relax.
No, but tartans started off just as pretty patterns that people liked, and then they said, "I like that one. That's the one I'm going to wear," and it evolved into clan tartans. And then I would say, in a way, it is. I won't say evolving past clan tartans because I don't think it's going past. I think it's just another branch on the same tree of evolving into other things, or not even evolving, but tangentially going off and becoming different things. So whether it's the Appalachian folklore tartan, whether it's the Spark tartan, whether it's American Dream, whether it's the County Leash tartan there, it doesn't matter. County Leash, excuse me, or Flower of Scotland or Scottish National. There are a lot of universal tartans that aren't necessarily clan related. Eric.
May I?
Yes.
Hey, Kathy. I would say that, we mostly grew up with a sense, in the States at least, of tartan being about clan. That's the perception we were raised with. But universal tartans have been around for a long time. I think they were district tartans were a thing before. The other term for universal tartans would be fashion tartans, and that's just somebody coming up with something just because they would think it'll sell. Products made for the Highland dance community was a factor in that also, although a lot of time that is variations on dress tartans, as we know. Mm-hmm. I think what we've gotten into is a sense that right after clan tartans, the most large category is landscape. Isle of Skye comes to mind immediately. It's technically what you would call a universal tartan, but it represents something. And I think we've kind of gotten into our heads that tartan has to have some basis in something symbolic. Whereas, honestly, you really could just design a tartan because I like red, I like yellow. I'm going to make a tartan that's mostly red and yellow. Oh, I like purple too. I'm going to put some of that in there. Oh my God, I recreated the Culloden battlefield tartan. We think there has to be symbolism when there really doesn't. But most of the time what happens is somebody thinks of a thing and they want to have a tartan to commemorate it. So Appalachian folklore was all about the fact that Appalachian culture is heavily rooted in Scottish and Scots-Irish culture, hugely so. So you have a lineage background to it, and then on top of that you have the unique culture that grew there, and the folklore is a big part of that. The storytelling there is incredibly unique. It has such a unique flavor. It is distinctly American. And so somebody here in this building thought, wow, it'd be great to try and capture that feel of that culture and the landscape in a tartan. And so the project begins. I think that's what most people I run into now. It's like, there really should be a tartan to represent my favorite breed of dog, or there really should be a tartan to represent this town I grew up in. we don't have to do it that way. There's nothing to stop you from just saying, I like colors. But it's kind of the mentality we're in. We think that there has to be some symbolism. Otherwise, it's not legit. So I'm not saying we hold ourselves back, but I think it's definitely where people come from most of the time.
Yeah, I agree. People absolutely come to it from it's cart before the horse to do it the other way almost.
Yeah.
There's not a plethora of tartan artists who just want to create beautiful tartan art for tartan art's sake. Most people want to start with an idea and a symbol or an event or something that they feel very, very passionate about and they want to commemorate. So I think that's a very astute point you made there.
Unless it's a mill. I mean, if it's a professional operation like a mill who are trying to come up with something that is fashionable in the current age, in the current zeitgeist, so they can sell it, particularly for weddings, then they will think, well, let's go with a theme of like nature. And then you have the Hebridean Heather collection or whatever.
Or what colors are popular currently in wedding
now,
colors. Yeah.
Which we know goes all the way back to the beginning. Like there are Highland Revival tartans that had brown in them because brown was the fashionable color. So that's nothing new. But most of us who are not in the business tend to think of, symbolism first.
Yep.
Sorry if I'm redundant and repeating myself over and over.
So what I want to know is what inspires you and needs a tartan? What person, place, or thing do you think deserves to be memorialized in tartan? Let me know in the comments.